It is 6:30 p.m. in Kaile in the far north region of Cameroon. It is 6:30 p.m. here in Douala. It's time for Viewpoint. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is another edition of Viewpoint on DBS television. And tonight we are talking about issues relating to health. That is why we have in the studio health personnel to tell us more about this issue concerning COVID-19 pandemic and other illnesses or disease that we have in our country. To talk to us, we have Dr. Simon Pechulano. He is the founder of Salvation Midi Rescue Mission for Africa, a non-governmental organization registered in Cameroon and incorporated in the United States of America. Good evening, Doctor. Thank you for being there for us.
Good evening, Venatius. It's my pleasure to be with you today again.
The pleasure is ours as well as that of the our viewers who are out there to hear you talk to us concerning issues related to health. Doctor is accompanied by another health personnel, Akumbo Renat Vega. He is a nurse and a midwife. Good evening, sir, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Good evening.
It is the second time that we're receiving you on Viewpoint.
Actually.
And we are grateful having you for the second time. Let us go to part one of the program, the yes or no answer session. We take question one. Doctor, I begin with you. Efforts have been concentrated on COVID-19 pandemic in Cameroon. Is there any impact on the health situation in the country? Yes or no?
Yes.
Doctor says, yes, there is an impact. Mr. Akumbo, any impact?
Yes.
Mr. Akumbo says there is, yes, an impact. I remain with you. We are talking of, is there any way we should tackle other health issues in the country?
Yes. Yes,
right.
Of course.
Yes, he says there are other ways we can. Doctor, are there any other ways that we can tackle this health issue that we have in the country?
Yes.
Doctor says yes. Those are their views. Let's take part two of the program. If you are just joining us, you're watching Viewpoint on DBS television, and we are also going live on our Facebook page. Since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, the world has been overwhelmed with the efforts to fight this pandemic. Back home here in Cameroon and Africa as well, Africa is involved in the fight like other Western countries. In tonight's edition of the program, we're asking the question, concentrating efforts to fight this pandemic in Cameroon, like in other African countries, neglecting other health issues, other health cases that had existed in Cameroon, in Africa, in the world before the outbreak of COVID-19. We want to find out, is there any impact of, focusing all our attention on fighting COVID-19 pandemic while other disease exist in the country? We're looking at the impact of that to our health situation in Cameroon. And Doctor, you say there are impacts on such an act to concentrate efforts in fighting COVID-19. Can we have this impact?
Yes, the impact is much.
Yes.
I agree very much with you that COVID-19 is a problem abroad, the United States, in Europe and Asia. But in Africa, here where we are,
yes,
I don't think the effort we are putting is commensurate with what the effort is just too much compared to the other aspect of health that we should have been concentrating on. We have issues that are perhaps greater than COVID-19 here.
Okay.
The statistics, they speak for themselves. And if you permit me to break it down, I will tell you that a simple case, a simple disease like malaria, which all of us know, it may be simple but very deadly. It's just simple because we hear about it all the time. But as we speak now, every 30 seconds, a child below 5 years die of malaria. And that's huge in sub-Saharan Africa. And that translates to 3,000 deaths a day. I mean, how can you compare that with, since the advent of this COVID-19 in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa and Africa as a whole, we have had registered less than 30,000 deaths.
Yes.
So imagine an illness that is taking 3,000 people, children. That's just children, not to talk of pregnant women, other people that are sick of severe malaria and die every minute. This is taking 3,000 deaths a day. And we are now concentrating on a disease that has not killed up to 3,000 people in Cameroon since the advent, based on statistics. Because as of yesterday, the 10th of May 2021, the statistic is 1,047 deaths in Cameroon of COVID-19.
Yes,
that's less than the number of children that die in Africa in a day. And the number of children, and Cameroon is a very when we talk about deaths in a case like malaria, Cameroon is really strategic because we are among the 15th nation globally.
Yes, heavily touched.
Yeah, that malaria is a great burden to us. And in Central Africa, we are number 3. And that the 50 based on statistics, we have 3% of global malaria. If they put all the malaria in the world together, we have 3% global burden. That's just one. There's this stuff that I am working on now, which I have been screening women against cancer of the cervix, cancer of the breast, prostate, hepatitis, diabetes, and hypertension. But I will concentrate on cancer of the cervix.
Yes.
Which every 2 minutes a woman dies of cancer of the cervix in sub-Saharan Africa. That is, in a year, we have talked about, since the advent of COVID, only 30,000 deaths have been registered in Africa. In Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, 500,000 women die of cancer of the cervix every year. Meaning that last year, since 2019, and now we have lost over 500,000 women. And I would tell you that I would prefer my person to die of COVID than to die of cancer of the cervix.
Given the
yes, it kills you slowly. You find, if you are a husband, you see your wife, she's just something you can't go close. She's smelling, foul smelling, discharge, bleeding. The children are running away, the husband is running, the caretaker is running away, and it takes you like that slowly till you die. I'm telling you, there is a misappropriation of our priorities as far as health is concerned in Africa. Yes, because we have to wake up. We cannot always mimic everything from the West. Because COVID is a problem in the West, it cannot be, we can't just accept that it's a problem here. I'm not saying there's no COVID, but it is not compared to the problems we already have. Cancer of the cervix, when I screen 10 women, I see a woman who has pre-cancer or invasive cancer. There is no how you will screen 10 women and you not see one. And we're diverting all the funds to COVID. I think the colossal damage of putting more than necessary attention to COVID is too much to be discussed here in the short time we have. It's just too much. Closing down schools, the economic...
Closing down churches?
It's churches. The economic damage, the spiritual, psychological, social damages of doing that is not something that we'll recover from in a very short while. I think if I have to say my own little, I'll say we should start sitting up. COVID is there, but it is not something we should start closing down our economy because of COVID. Why? How many children have died of COVID? as I speak, since I started speaking, at least I've spoken for maybe 2 minutes. Four children below the age of 5 have died. 30 seconds. Every child dies in this part of the world because of malaria. And we are here talking about COVID. Even the policy makers, they know. They don't even wear their mask. And they keep, I mean, we have to be sincere to ourselves. Hypocrisy is not good. We are the posterity will not judge us well. Our children will come up and say, what kind of parents did we have? Can't they think? And then someone will sit and think that somebody in the West is responsible for that. No, we are responsible for our own problems. We are. Okay. So please, I think COVID should take a backbench as far as malaria is concerned, cancer of the cervix is concerned, and so diabetes, hypertension. Go out there and even just take, fibroid. You 1 out of 4 black women has fibroid. Nobody's talking about it. You go abroad and all these are dangerous. You don't see. Yes. When 500,000 women are dying of cancer of the cervix in Africa, less than 10,000 is dying in the United States of America with 350 million people. I mean, can't we just think? Why are they not dying? Because somebody is screening them, somebody is educating them. That's what we are in our own little corner now. We're trying to do. I think we have, I think that we should divert our effort and energy and economy towards what could save the next generation.
Okay, Doc, thank you. We'll come back to this issue. Let us take Akumbo Renard Vega. Doctor is highlighting the mortality rate of malaria and the cancers that are involved that we have in our country. Now, COVID-19 came abruptly and took everybody by surprise. Can we attribute so much trumpeted attention that is given to COVID-19, perhaps to the fact that it was a new kind of disease that even our policymakers did not master, the fact that we did not even measure, the impact of this disease to our economy, to our social life? Is it ignorance, lack of mastery of COVID-19 pandemic, or how can we justify the fact that we have an illness which is not as deadly as others, yet we forget others and we are all going for COVID?
The reality is COVID has not started today.
Okay.
COVID was there. It's just the way it came this time that is raising alarm. But what I must say is COVID is just coming to add to already existing diseases that we have. We really have even epidemics here that are really killing gradually but at a steady rate. That if you want to make a summary of the numbers of people falling for these epidemics, Doctor just mentioned malaria. We have cholera and a lot more. Even non-communicable diseases, yes, they are really killing at a steady rate. So the intention of actually focusing more on COVID-19 and giving a lesser interest to every other disease plaguing the whole world, and even here based in Cameroon and Africa as a whole, is a very, very big mistake. Let COVID have its place, and other diseases too take their other places. I must say, COVID-19 seemingly have ways of preventing it. These ways, for how I'm seeing, COVID have even come to stay. So we really need to prepare to live with COVID. Other than like every other disease that is already there, we really need to prepare to live with. So the intentions of focusing on COVID and forgetting about other aspects of care is actually a wrong thing. So I must say that we really need to think very wisely. Think very wisely. I just mentioned non-communicable disease. We have diabetes, high blood, and a lot more.
Hepatitis,
yes. You have a lot more, and they are killing. You hear people raise concerns about these machines that were not there for dialysis or this. I just think that this COVID thing has actually come like an eye-opener to us. to be well prepared for even the other pandemics that will come our way that we don't even know about it. So this is an eye-opener for us to know that these things will be coming. And while they are coming, we should already be prepared, not limiting ourselves to face the one that is coming new, but dividing attentions to be able to tackle every other one that is coming and even the present ones, so that we will not focus on chasing the wind and the rain is instead falling on us.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Akobo will remain with you. When you look at it, it's not as if it is a Cameroonian issue or an African issue, Doctor. Doctor indicated that the gravity of COVID-19 out there is more than what we have in Africa. Statistics tell us that. But then, if you look at what the Western world is doing, even the IMF, World Bank, you see the kind of loans that they grant to African countries to fight COVID. Whereas they don't do that when it comes to malaria, when it comes to cancers, like Doctor is saying, when it comes to high blood, all this that you are citing. Where is, is it that they are not able to size the impact of these other illnesses that we had in Africa before the arrival of COVID? Why that particular attention on COVID in Africa? Because when you look at what the IMF and the World Bank, the loans they have given to Cameroon, it's already more than 200 billion within a period of from 2019. In fact, it was even 2020 in Cameroon and 2021. More than 250 billion. Why such kind of interest? That was my word.
I want to think that this issue of giving loans or grants or help to developing countries and third world countries like us here in Cameroon is due to the fact that this fear is that we have little to do as well as a well-organized health system is concerned. And we don't have all the expertise and all the things it takes to be able to combat a pandemic that was killing that fast, like COVID. But I must say, whenever an opportunity comes, the Western world will always use it as an advantage.
Okay.
Yes, you really look at it keenly, you will see that the loans or every other thing they are giving is to also make sure that we remain dependent on them. But it's a good thing that we should learn from all these things. If actually the COVID is killing back there in the Western world, Europe and the United States, and we are living here so strong and healthy, it's not, I really have a conviction that this COVID, as we're talking about, even if it was here, we are being saved by grace because our health system is a mess on its own. But I still want to think that these funds that are being given to us, we can instead make good use of them.
Whereas they are instead provoking other issues. We're talking already embezzling 180 billion that is not even accountable as of now.
Yes, like every new thing that comes or is coming like a disadvantage, people who are wise must ever make a way out of it. But one message I want to make it clear is that this COVID is actually killing in the Western world, but God has given us a chance. This chance now is to see that other pandemics will come that will kill here far more than how it's killing in the West. So this is an eye-opener for us now to think and rethink so that we can be able to restructure, focus our attention and make sure we put the resources we have in place. We have the little resources, but we can make good use of it.
Okay. We have resources that we can make good use of it. Doctor, let's go to question 2. Doctor, you are highlighting statistics that at times are frightful for other illnesses that we have neglected, which are claiming lives more than COVID. Can it be linked to sensitization? Lack of sensitization on these illnesses that are claiming lives more than we imagine?
Sure. Yes. Honestly, for example, this cervical cancer is a disease of ignorance.
Yes.
It's not as if it's a very deadly kind of thing. Okay. Each time I see a woman who has had invasive cancer, I feel for the woman because I knew
there was a way
just
they could prevent.
Actual ignorance. No woman, I say no woman should die of a disease like that. Because when you are infected with human papilloma virus, the cervix, which is the window into the door. It's actually the door into the womb, because that's where the baby goes in, and that's where they come out. So that cervix, when there's a sexual exposure with a man, or she's infected with human papilloma virus that causes cancer of the cervix, it takes about 15 years for it to eventually develop into invasive cancer. And during those times, there are no symptoms. But the only way you can know that this woman has cancer of the cervix or pre-cancer, which is clear using our screening method, is by screening. If the woman shows up before that time, it is a very easy thing to eradicate.
So we are saying that cancer of the cervix is an illness that can be treated?
Of course, it can be prevented and treated. It's treated completely, like, I don't know which, like an infection of bacteria. You take antibiotics, it clears it, and if you are not reinfected, you will never hear about it again. That's why it should not kill anybody. And the world, it has been proven that it shouldn't kill anybody, because while we have a 10% prevalence of cancer of the cervix in sub-Saharan Africa, we have a 0.0001%.
So which means we can also,
in the United States.
We can also scale to that.
We can get there.
If we do our assignments well.
We can get there. If I have my way, I'll start from my village. No woman would die of cancer of the cervix from my village. And if every doctor or nurse or any healthcare professional or anybody of goodwill, because it doesn't take only doctors and healthcare professionals. If you have funds and gather a few people and put the facility in place, people can start screening, and then you sensitize them, which is what we've been doing. You do sensitization and you screen. Say, look, this is what is happening. This disease does not have any symptoms. And usually the only time they get symptoms is when the disease is already invasive, and it could just be the grace of God for you to salvage the woman's life.
Doctor, we are talking about sensitization here. And if we have you here, we use this platform to talk about it to our sisters, our mothers, our daughters who are out there. What does it take to have you talk to those women, to let them come up for this sensitization? Do they need to apply, doctor, we need you to come and do this, or what does it take?
Honestly, I came back from the United States. I said, what can I do for my country? And I have been going to communities. I first came, I was at Bonamusa. I said, no, this is not the right place for me. I want to go to where these people, I will touch the life. Last 2 weeks, we did a sensitization at Non-Glacé. And we screened over 200 and something women. I mean, we screened them for hepatitis, cervical cancer of the cervix, diabetes, hypertension, screen prostate. So we go. Our organization actually goes to them to talk to them. From I remember with my manager, we spoke to over 7 different village communities about what we're doing on the Sunday before the screening, and that's how we got the few. Most of the time, people are not in Africa; they are not ready for preventive medicine, and that is the difference between us and the Western world. You see, abroad, you see people live 90 years, somebody is still driving his car. We give up so soon here. We think we are not supposed to live below. You see somebody 60, 70, they say he has tried. Tried what? You have the capacity and intrinsic mechanism to embedded in you to live for 100 and something years.
But doctor, our communities may think that screening, is it free of charge?
Completely free. All this is free. If we in a standard place, all that test should not cost. Will cost in the neighborhood of 100,000 francs. We do it completely free in my place. Completely free. We have statistics. I don't know whether other single people or organizations are doing that, apart from people like health institutions, like some of the missions and so on, government. But single-handedly, I think I have screened thousands of women.
Okay.
And I really feel good about that. I said, how can, in your own small way, how can
what
you...
What
contribution can you do? I have not had any single funding. Yes, it's just from my own effort. I said, it is time, it is high time Africans we should think that we can do something by ourselves, for ourselves. It is not all the time we sit and wait and then blame somebody somewhere for not doing it for us. So you understand?
But let us tell our viewers who are watching us here that, like we are saying, COVID-19 is there. But other illnesses like cancer of the cervix, like we are saying, is more than...
It's like between 2019, we call it COVID-19 because it started in 2019. Between 2019 and now, COVID-19 in Africa, let me talk about Africa and sub-Saharan Africa. COVID-19 has killed in the neighborhood of 30,000 people.
Yes.
And most of those 30,000 is in South Africa because of their weather. But cancer of the cervix has killed over 500,000, far over 500,000 women
in sub-Saharan Africa.
So put the facts together.
Okay.
You don't need to be convinced. You don't need to be in the medical profession to put two and two together and see that we have no choice than to give some attention to it.
Okay, Doc. Let's take Mr. Kumbo. In less than 1 minute, time is against us. You are talking of opening. The COVID-19 has opened our eyes for us to see how we can rework on our health facilities. If you were to talk to policymakers who have this interest or who have this, these funds from foreign countries, would you tell them to reinvest it, not fighting COVID-19, but on our health systems?
Yes, I will divide the intention of talking to them also to the citizens as well. Our citizens always sit and they wait that something should be done to them. They don't also think of doing something. Like even the epidemics that are already existing, most efforts have been done. Like malaria, mosquito nets have been given.
But they don't use them.
They don't use them. Some use as tents for their bathroom.
Some use
for fishing.
Yes.
And then for cholera, we actually have way of disposing our waste. But some people carefully dispose waste in the gutters or in the road at night. That is to make us know that we are not serious. But for the people who have all it takes in place, I want to let them to understand that some of these things are already there and they will come to live. They need to open up their eyes very well so that our health system should be restructured to favor our citizens and not particular people. We are still talking about sensitizing or doing what not to the hospitals. Elsewhere is free of charge. We still pay for it, but we don't have it. So at least it should be made closer. The gap should be brought closer so that the small we have to pay for it, let it be available.
Let it benefit the lives of our citizens.
Actually.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We would have loved to continue, but time doesn't permit us. Doctor, thank you for being there. We hope to have you in our subsequent edition.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Kumbo. We hope to have you when time permits you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's edition of Viewpoint. It was our pleasure having you. The write-up would have the news in the English language with Cynthia Ngwemo. Until we meet again, have a blessed evening and goodbye.